What is up, my brothers and sisters, my agents of respect? It's your boy Trey Johnson back with another episode of the No Disrespect But podcast. Before we get started, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Always feel free to comment. Just keep those comments respectful. And if you want to be generous and support your favorite podcaster, yours truly, the link to do so will be in the episode description. So, today's episode, first of all, it is Friday. We are excited for the weekend. It's going to be a great weekend just to relax, but also for sports and sports entertainment. And I want to start with the latter. Uh, Talking about a topic that we haven't necessarily covered on this show in the past, but it is something that is near and dear to me, and it is the WWE, sports entertainment as we know it. And tomorrow is going to be one of their biggest pay-per-view events or paid live events, is what they call them now, PLEs, the Royal Rumble. And for me, the Royal Rumble was always one of my favorite events. Essentially, it's 30 people, so now they have a men's and women's Royal Rumble, 30 entrants um, vying for a chance to main event WrestleMania and cash in an opportunity to not only just main event WrestleMania, but pick the heavyweight champion of their choice to fight in that particular event. So a lot on the line. This event has made careers, it has made champions, it has made Hall of Famers. And I remember growing up as a kid, I loved it. I loved the folks running in from number one through number 30. What always captivated me were the surprise appearances. So, especially in recent years, folks that I grew up watching a lot, they're starting to be one of the entrants. Like Booker T made an appearance last year, I believe, and that was pretty cool. And in the women's one, Michelle McCool, she made an appearance. She was actually in the crowd with her daughter in sweatpants and UGG boots, and her music played. And she was like, "Oh, me!" And so she got up out of the stands, went up in the ring, and did her thing for a little bit. She wasn't like an in and out. She did her thing for a little bit, and so even to this day, I get excited. And I know back when I was younger, a lot of times this was where, like, before social media, nobody was breaking stores or anything. So let's say 2 months ago, 3 months ago, one of our favorite wrestlers got hurt, in the kayfabe sense of they got injured and they had to be out in rehab and everything like that. Sometimes they will pick this very moment to make their return. And 9 times out of 10, the person that put them on the shelf and out of commission was in the ring at the time that they returned. And so you could see the look in their eyes like, oh shit, I didn't know this person was coming back and they're gunning for me. And the crowd just got that popping. So, um, I mean, the Royal Rumble kicks off the road to WrestleMania essentially. And so that's why I've always loved it. And I will say, in years past, sometimes you kind of had an idea who's going to win. Even in his most recent year, you kind of figured that Cody Rhodes would win, which he did. He was the last entrant at 30, which is the number of entrant that usually wins the most, like has the highest success rate if you're the last one, because everybody else has been tired, they've been going crazy, exhausting all that energy. And so the person that comes in last usually has a great deal of success in winning the whole thing. And so, sometimes you do just getting with the storylines that, okay, this person may win. It makes sense for them to win so they can headline Mania and this, that, and the third. But in this year's men's and women's, it's really hard to decide who's going to do it. I mean, everybody has a valid case for why they should win, why they should go on to main event WrestleMania. And I would say maybe the three favorites in this match. Obviously, you got Cody Rhodes, who is the defending Royal Rumble award winner, right? Or Royal Rumble winner. His whole thing is finishing the story. The guy who left the company and started his own thing and succeeded, and then decided to come back, the prodigal son, so to speak, doing something that his father, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, never could do, which was be a world heavyweight champion in that company. And so had his chance last year after winning the Royal Rumble, lost to Roman Reigns. And so He's been on this journey for a year trying to get back, and so he wants to win this Royal Rumble, get his chance at Roman Reigns at Mania. Should Roman Reigns retain? We'll talk about that in a little bit. But that's Cody wanting to finish the story. But guess what? There's someone else who left the company, went and did his own thing, made himself a star again, or never stopped being a star, if you want to be honest, comes back and has some unfinished business of his own, and that will be one CM Punk, one of my favorite wrestlers coming up. And so happy to see him back home where he belongs. The time without him in WWE, yeah, it went on. They made billions, but you always were kind of missing something, and you would have folks that would sneak signs in and everything like that, and all the conversations around World Wrestling Entertainment was, when will we see CM Punk again? So now to have him back in the WWE after an amazing run in AEW in the ring, we won't talk about outside the ring, but in the ring, some really good matches. So hopefully he can bring that to the WWE. Stay healthy. I know he had some freak injuries along the way in AEW, but hopefully he can stay healthy during this run. And so, like I said, he has his own set of unfinished business. He has never main evented WrestleMania. That was one of his gripes with the company, never having main evented WrestleMania. And he has a chance, if he wins the Royal Rumble, not only to main event WrestleMania, but to go up against a guy in Seth Rollins, who is the best wrestler in the world right now, in my opinion, he has also never main evented WrestleMania. So you have two guys being able to do something that neither has done before and having a chance to walk out the world champion. And so Seth Rollins is dealing with the injury. Who knows if it's kayfabe or real, but it's probably a little truth in everything and a little bit of lies in everything. But either way, that's the storyline they're pushing. And I think that's the match that would be amazing. But you got a guy like Gunther, the ring general, the intercontinental heavyweight champion of the world currently. And hey, he has a chance. He had a great had a great kind of standoff, great promo with Seth Rollins on Monday Night Raw. He was like, "Hey, I'm the guy coming for you, and I'm going to rip you apart." And if you have been paying attention to Gunther ever since he stepped into WWE, that is all he has done. He has brought prestige to the sacred ring, and that is why he's the ring general. And guess what? He has a chance to play spoiler to Cody's story, to CM Punk's story, by putting them both over the top rope and winning the Royal Rumble. Hey, he's the guy who's the number one entrant last year, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And he lasted longer than anyone had ever done in the Royal Rumble in history. And look, he did his best to get Cody out, but Cody was able to prevail. But will that be the same this year? Who knows? But I will say, just with this match, if I had to guess, just thinking of storylines, I'm thinking CM Punk is going to win this. I think he's going to eliminate Cody somehow. I can see Cody like eliminating a person that's like, oh, he eliminated that person, and then CM Punk kind of coming behind them and getting them out, or them kind of having a standoff and going at it. They had a little standoff on Monday as well, and so them fighting tooth and nail and CM Punk getting it done. Because I just love the storylines that can come with that. CM Punk, uh, him and Seth are going to build that match to Mania. They are two of the best, not only in the ring, but also on the mic. And it's just going to be freaking amazing to see that happen. I think Cody somehow, I think this puts him in a situation where now he has to finish the story, kind of similar to somebody mentioned it on Twitter when they were like, when Shawn Michaels, back in the day when he really wanted to go against the Undertaker, and so he was going through hell and high water to make that happen, losing friends, losing relationships, hurting authority figures in the company just to get at the Undertaker. And he finally got him, and the Undertaker beat his behind at WrestleMania. So you can see something where Cody may go on a downward spiral. He's on Raw, Roman's on SmackDown. How does Cody get his way to SmackDown? That remains to be seen. If Cody goes to SmackDown, who then comes to Raw? So there's a lot of dynamics with that. I think the Elimination Chamber could maybe play a part in what happens with Cody and his story in terms of being able to have another go at Roman Reigns in at WrestleMania, but we'll see how that goes. And I think Gunther somehow, I can maybe see him getting knocked out by Jey Uso, who's also supposed to be in a Royal Rumble, and then that kind of kick-starting a mini feud with them, where they're vying for the Intercontinental Championship, and then maybe somehow, Jay, with what is going on with him and his brother in the bloodline, maybe Jimmy cost him an opportunity, and then that puts them in a match at WrestleMania, which is a dream of theirs. They've always wanted to go one-on-one against one another at WrestleMania after being a tag team for so long. So really interesting dynamics. I mean, hell, it could be somebody that we don't even expect to win the men's Royal Rumble. And then it's just I don't know, then it's just kind of a free-for-all with a bunch of storylines out of whack and just going crazy. But um, right now, I'm going to predict CM Punk to win that, but I'm just excited to watch that match. And in similar fashion as the men's, there's a lot going on with the women's. I mean, look, like I said, I'm always interested in the Royal Rumble. And in the most recent years, where now they've had a women's Royal Rumble for a chance for that winner to get a title opportunity against one of the two women's champions on the roster. I, you know, I've always, like I said, I've enjoyed the surprises where you get the leaders, you get the Trish Stratus's, you get the Michelle McCool's, uh, you know, you know, female superstars that I grew up watching. They were called WWE divas at the time, but it is what it is. But they could wrestle their behinds off as well. And so now knowing what the respect truly, not just inwardly, but what we're seeing now, the respect that the women in the company are commanding, love bringing some of those veterans back. And so I'm always excited to see, okay, who's going to be brought back. So I know there's some people that are saying that Trinity Fatu, who in WWE is known as Naomi, she's supposed to be making a return to the WWE, and the Royal Rumble is the place that's going to happen. Jade Cargill, who came over from AEW, she's set to make her debut, so we're excited to see where she is. Um, some people are saying Mercedes Monet or Sasha Banks, as she was known in WWE, may make a return. I'm not too confident in that yet. I think if she will return to the WWE, that is a post Mania type thing, I would assume, but not right now. And so it's always interesting what they have, and they do their thing. Rhea Ripley won last year, and she was able to parlay that into an opportunity to beat Charlotte Flair for the women's title at WrestleMania, and she's been the women's champion ever since. So she's kind of looking at, okay, uh, who's going to face me if they win, which they've kind of perked up and said, oh, it may be Becky Lynch, the man. It may be um, not Nia Jax. It may be her. It may be Bailey, who represents Damage Control and may want to take a shot at Rhea Ripley so that Damage Control can have both of the women's titles, both on Raw and SmackDown. And then we're talking about you know, um I'm losing the name. Asuka. I know she's one of them. Like having a chance, like two other members of Damage Control, they're vying for the women's tag team titles, which, by the way, I think need to be split at some point. But you could be in a situation where, in terms of the women's championships, Damage Control has all the gold, and that could very well be a thing. If Bailey should win. But again, a lot of interesting storylines with women. Again, if Becky Lynch wins and she faces Rhea Ripley, it's arguably the best of all time versus Mommy, the best right now. Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch, two of the most fierce competitors going at it for a title at WrestleMania. I know we've been talking about, okay, who might headline WrestleMania. If that is the match, I'm just saying I would want them to headline night one of Mania. They are just that good of competitors and performers in the ring, and just what they bring to the brand, not just the women's division, but just the brand of WWE in general. Would love to see them main event. You got the EST in there, so she's trying to get a chance to get her championship back. It's been a little minute, but we'll see if she can get that done. Like I said, Jade Cargill kind of showing her stuff, saying, "Hey, I'm here to stay." You know, some people are saying, "Hey, she might be someone who surprises everyone and wins this match," which I would not bet against her. I think she has just as much of an opportunity as anybody. And look, Miss Jax, she, I mean, this is a big girl, but she's powerful. She's a beast. She's a force in that ring. And you know everybody's gonna be trying to do what they do every time she's in there. What they did to her last year, they tried to jump her and you know throw out the ring. And I think she's ready for that. Look, she knows she's always been the bigger person on the playground. Everybody's been trying to pick on her and jump on her. And I think she's ready for that. And so you expect to see her throw a lot of people over the top rope. Because I think she has a game plan. I think she wants to play spoiler to the Beckys, to the Baileys, to the Biancas of the world. I think she wants her chance at a title shot. And look, we saw she struck some fear. She struck some fear into Rhea Ripley. And so if she does win the Royal Rumble, we could be looking at our future women's champion on the Raw brand. I'm just saying. But much like with the CM Punk prediction, my prediction for the Women's Royal Rumble is something that I believe moves the storyline a little bit better that needs it. And so while a lot of people are saying Becky is going to main event with or going to be in that match against Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania, and I understand that, I don't think it's going to be a result of this match. I don't think Becky is going to win. I can see her and Nia Jax, who have had a little beef over the past few weeks, them kind of getting into it, and that starts a mini feud, maybe going into Elimination Chamber, where, you know, they're fighting for a chance to be the number one contender. But I will say I think Bayley wins this. And one of the reasons why, and look, this is not some thing that I'm just making up. I think a lot of people have this same perspective on the Bayley situation. For weeks, the WWE has been toying with us and showing that there are a few cracks in damage control, and that Bayley seems to be the odd one out. And so, if she should win the Royal Rumble, there's going to be okay. You're clearly going after Rhea, right? And it could be one of those situations where she's like, I haven't made a decision yet. And so, kind of like Randy Orton, when he was in his kind of stable, Evolution. So we could see something like that where Bayley ends up, you know, having to fight all of Damage Control, gets a chance at Io Sky at Mania, and maybe walks out the women's champion. Maybe gets jumped by Damage Control. Maybe sparks a return to Sasha Banks. Who knows? But I'll be intrigued, and I think Bayley winning provides a lot of intrigue for a lot of different reasons. And so want to wrap up the Royal Rumble talk with these next two matches that aren't obviously the 30-person Royal Rumble, but are title opportunities. And starting with the United States Championship match, you got the Maverick Logan Paul, who's the United States champion, won it versus Rey Mysterio. Some people say he cheated. I say he just won. It is what it is. He's going against the prize fighter, Kevin Owens, who is dealing with a hand injury and said that he's not going to wear the cast to protect his hand. So you know that Logan's going to take advantage of that. He has kind of that iron rod in his fist, so all he takes is one punch. I think it's going to be a good match. I think it's going to be a match that continues to increase Logan's value in this company. Again, a lot of times a celebrity can come in and folks don't give them their just due. But I will say, just from an outside looking in perspective, it seems like Logan Paul has done anything and everything to show that he belongs. And now he's wearing championship gold around his waist. And I believe that he's going to walk out of the Royal Rumble with championship gold on his waist. I think it's going to be a great fight. I think that both of these guys are going to put on a phenomenal show. And I just think Logan, look, y'all might call it cheating, but look, I call it finding a way. Eddie Guerrero will be proud, finding a way to win. And I think he ends up walking out again as United States champion. And that sparked some feuds down the line. He just signed a new contract extension with WWE, said he's wanting to be more of a full-time worker and not treating it like a hobby, which is always great. And I feel like the folks in the locker room respect that. And so I'm looking forward to the different feuds that can go with the Logan Paul experience. And then kind of, closing it up with the undisputed WWE Universal Championship match. Um, Roman Reigns obviously is the champion. He's been dominating the WWE for almost 3 years, I think a little bit over 3 years now, approaching Hulk Hogan's record. That's kind of the prize. He is in God mode, greatness on a different level. He is the tribal chief. You have to acknowledge him and what he has done. He is a draw. He is a man that has brought billions with the B to the WWE brand. You have to acknowledge who he is, what he's done. And we got to acknowledge that he is going to be in the ring with three of the best superstars we have in this business. Obviously, you got LA Knight, a guy who's been, doing the damn thing for years and finally getting his chance and has his chance at Roman Reigns. And as always, Roman and his cousins in the bloodline, they get involved, and he happened to lose 1, 2, 3. But that didn't stop LA Knight. He stayed on the ground. He worked his ass off to get into another opportunity, and he's back. He wants some payback, and so he's the guy. He's the megastar according to him, and so he's saying, "Hey, I'm going to hit some moves. I'm going to get that BFT, and then I'm going to get that 1, 2, 3, and then the crowd's going to be saying LA Knight, yeah." So hell of a performer. Looking forward to seeing how he performs in the ring. Obviously, you got the phenomenal one, AJ Styles, coming back from injury, a guy whose injury opened the door for LA Knight to have a chance at Roman Reigns. And so he has a bone to pick, not just with Roman Reigns and his cousins for putting him on the shelf in the first place, but for LA Knight taking advantage of the opportunity with AJ's absence. And so you saw them having a little beef when AJ got back. But the guy that everybody needs to watch out for, and I think they've registered that after last week when he gave all three of these guys RKOs to close Friday Night SmackDown, is RKO Randy Orton, the Viper, the legend killer who has become legend, a guy who the bloodline, who fell victim to the bloodline, was put on the shelf with a serious back injury. He is back. He's out for vengeance. He said the bloodline would have to atone for their sins, and he will make sure of that. And look, as a fan, I was wanting him to get his one-on-one with Roman, but I get it. You got to kind of earn that opportunity, and should he lose, which is likely, and look, I'm just go ahead and say I got Roman Reigns retaining, which is no surprise to anyone. But you don't want the big first pay-per-view for one of your biggest stars, a bona fide Hall of Famer, losing his first big match back one-on-one. So I think it's going to be a good match. I think it's going to have some slow points. It's going to have some high points. And I think towards the climax and the falling action of this match, I think you're going to see a situation where AJ Styles gets put out of the ring. I'm gonna say this: LA Knight is going to hit AJ Styles with a BFT. I think Randy Orton is going to hit LA Knight with an RKO. I think Roman Reigns is going to hit Randy Orton with a spear or a Superman punch, one or the other, and then he is going to pin LA Knight 1, 2, 3. Obviously, Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa are going to involve themselves somehow, some way, as they always do. Hell, even the wise man Paul Heyman might involve himself. But at the end of the day, Roman Reigns will stack them up 1, 2, 3, and he will again continue to be your reigning, defending, universal WWE or undisputed WWE Universal Champion, and that's just what it is. And who knows what that might parlay? Um, do we see Cody? Do we see CM Punk? Do we see Gunther? Who do we see at the end? It's always interesting, right? What is the next setup? I can see them saying, like an RK or Randy Orton saying, look, I almost had this thing won. I want my shot at him one-on-one. And that's what you get at Elimination Chamber. And so who knows? But the WWE is in good hands. It's always a good thing when there's some parity in the sense of there's a little bit of an unknown. You don't know what's going to happen, who's going to happen at a point in time. And so if you're a fan right now, now is a really good time to get in, because yes, the stars you may have grown up on, they're really good. There are a lot of awesome current wrestlers on the come up that you can really grow with. The same way when I was a kid, I grew up with some folks that were the new guys and the new girls on the block at one point in time, and they became mega stars. And so this is a perfect time to get involved in WWE and wrestling entertainment. So want to segue into another Rumble that's going to be happening this weekend, and that is Conference Championship weekend in the NFL, right? And so, NFC Championship game, we got San Francisco 49ers. They've been the best team in the NFC all year. They're going to be hosting Detroit Lions, who have been one of the best stories over the past 3 years. And now having a chance to have a roster that's competing for a championship led by Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Obviously, you know what that defense is doing, led by Aiden Hutchinson. You got rookie Brian Branch doing his thing in the secondary. You got Sutton doing his thing at the cornerback position. CD Deuce, shout out to him. Missed him in New Orleans. Got him doing his thing now that he's back from injury. So you got a little bit of that nastiness, that ground and pound, just that feistiness that Coach Dan Campbell said that when he was hired as a Detroit Lions head coach, that he was bringing that type of mentality. And look, it didn't look pretty year one, but you saw some things year two, and guess what? In year three, they're blossoming with a chance to do what no Detroit Lions team in the modern NFL era has done, and that's have a chance at a Super Bowl and get to a Super Bowl. This is their first conference championship game since 1991, I believe, when they lost to the Cowboys. So this is an awesome opportunity, and so I'm excited to see what's going to be happening. And San Francisco, again, they've been dominant. Deebo Samuel's has been cleared to play, so he's going to be very beneficial for their offense and what Brock Purdy likes to do. Christian McCaffrey, who's a finalist for the Most Valuable Player award, and a guy who at one point I was like, I'm okay giving it to him because I just didn't think the quarterbacks were doing enough, and we couldn't make it a quarterback award. But CMC's been doing his thing. He's been carrying the load. We know what that 49ers defense does, um, led by Bosa and Fred Warner, and what they can do and take away from opposing offenses. And so, look, Jared Goff may be a little bit uncomfortable, and we know how he can feel when he's uncomfortable. He wasn't as uncomfortable against the Bucks last week, and he was able to do his thing. But the Bucks made it a relatively good game for the most part until the fourth quarter, and so there's going to be some lapses where you have to execute at a high level. I think if you're the Detroit Lions, you I don't want to say lucked up because they played the Rams really well too, but I think sometimes you can, in a way, get in a situation where you're not playing as explosive of an offense, or as perfect of an offense. And I think San Francisco is that offense. They can run the ball well, they block well, they can pass the ball well in the short, intermediate, and the deep ball. So I think Detroit is going to have to play their best version of football for this game if they want to go into San Francisco and come out with the win. Um, I think Brock Purdy's heard the noise. I think his teammates have heard the noise about him being a game manager and how, oh man, you almost lost to Jordan Love. And even though you won the game, you clearly weren't the best quarterback on the field that day. And so I think he's probably had the best practice ever of his career. I think his teammates may have had the best practice of their career. They have a point to prove. They're in this mode where they're starting to make up that they're underdogs. And sometimes when heavy favorites start to act like they have a point to prove and that they're the ones not being believed in, that's a dangerous freaking combination. And so they can come out hair on fire and make some plays. Now, I will say this. I went back and forth with this game on who I would choose. I would just say this. Um, if I'm picking with my heart, I'll pick Detroit. I love their story. I love the culture they're built. I love the story behind what it would be if they are to get to the Super Bowl with a chance at winning. But if I'm just putting all the cards on the table, it's hard for me to beat San Francisco. Even when they don't look pretty, they look prettier than the team they're playing. And that usually results in a win. And it's just hard for me to pick against them in this moment. So I am going to go with San Fran because I'm just thinking objectively here. In my heart, I want it to be Detroit. I hate the 49ers. Y'all know I do. But I I can't make predictions like that, right? Now, look, if San Fran loses and Detroit wins, happy for them. But if you ask me to pick and give you my expert opinion on it, I'm gonna go with San Fran. I think they can run the ball well. I think there were a lot of missed opportunities that the Rams and the Buccaneers didn't capitalize on. I think the Rams in general, we saw what Puka was able to do kind of by himself for the most part. So when you think of all of those weapons that San Fran has to offer, I just think they may be a little bit too much for Detroit Lions, and I'm going to go with San Fran winning that game 34 to 24. So winning that by 10. That's what I got. Um, Now, excuse me. The game, everybody in it, mama gonna watch. Everybody in the mama is going to watch this game. It is going to be Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens hosting Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback in his generation right now. Let's just call it what it is, and the Kansas City Chiefs. Probably the worst Kansas City Chiefs team in the Mahomes era, and they are in yet again another AFC Championship game. Patrick Mahomes, every year he has started, ladies and gentlemen, has been in AFC Championship game, meaning that he has always had an opportunity to make it to a Super Bowl. And the only people to beat him in these opportunities are Tom Brady and Joe Burrow. They're the only two to have beat him in the conference championship in the AFC, and you can add Tom Brady's win against him in the Super Bowl. But in terms of being the AFC champion, a chance at that, he's only lost twice, if I'm not mistaken, and that's once to Tom Brady and once to Joe Burrow. The guy's amazing. It's the things we know what he can do throwing the ball. He can make every throw. He can dink and dunk you to death. He can hit the deep ball on you. He's not afraid to throw it across the middle of the field. But he has some of these back-breaking runs. Like he's not a scrambler by any means. You will not mistake him for Lamar Jackson or Cam Newton or Steve Young or any other mobile quarterback in the sense that we think of. You will never mistake Patrick Mahomes for those. But he has a level of mobility where he can move around in the pocket, and if everybody turns their back and he has green, he will hit you for 20, 30 yards and just scurry out of bounds. So he's a guy that's hard to defend. You don't want to play too much zone because he can pick you apart. You don't want to play too much man because either they're going to scheme somebody to beat you, or if he can get out of the pocket, he's going to make a play. And we know Travis Kelce is his number one guy, a guy that doesn't even really run real routes. He just freestyles it, and he knows like, hey, I can get here, and Patrick can give me the ball. That Kansas City defense has been balling under Coach Spags. Um, they are doing the damn thing. They're getting a consistent pass rush. Their linebackers are playing with their hair on fire. Their cornerbacks are gritty. McDuffie, L'Jarius Sneed. Obviously, I think safeties may be a little bit of a question mark for them, but they're so good in the other positions, in the front and middle positions, that you usually don't see them affected that much. And so it takes a well-run machine, essentially offensively, to pick apart that Kansas City defense. And they're playing probably the best they've ever been in the Mahomes era, which is weird because I just said it's the worst team he's ever had. But on defense, it's arguably maybe the best defense he's ever had. When I say the worst, it's more so from an offensive skill player position. We know they're going to be without their offense. I think offensive guard Joe Tooney. They're going to be without a few receivers. So Pat has a lot to a lot on his plate to overcome to win this game. And keep in mind, he's going against the best team in the league. The Ravens had over 60 sacks, if I'm not mistaken, which led the NFL. They're getting turnovers. We saw on a Monday night football game, I believe it was Monday night football or Sunday night football, where they forced the San Francisco 49ers into 4 turnovers. Like it was crazy. And so we know they can get after the quarterback, they can generate turnovers. And if you know anything about Patrick Mahomes, he will give you opportunities. He's always one of the leaders in turnover worthy plays. And so if you can capitalize on those opportunities that he gives you, who knows what can happen? And I just want to talk about Baltimore's offense. We know maybe the two-time league MVP is what he's going to be, and Lamar Jackson, Action Jackson. We know they gave him a little bit more help from a skill position standpoint, drafting Zay Flowers, bringing in Odell Beckham Jr., who just kind of makes it a little easier on the wide receiver group. And so you're seeing guys like Rashad Bateman make plays now in the passing game because of a guy like Odell just makes it so much easier for you to make plays now. They're getting Mark Andrews back there, top tight end. Isaiah Likely, who was their backup, has been playing lights out in in place of Mark Andrews all that time. And now you're bringing a top 3 tight end in the league back from an injury. And so we know that Lamar's going to look his way, and he's going to be really helpful in the red zone when they want to try to pass the ball and things like that. We know how they can run the ball with their running backs. They always keep a staple of running backs. And then what Lamar can do with his legs is amazing. They had their first playoff game against the Texans because they had the bye, no one overall seed. And you started to see that Coach Monken, while he didn't do it in the regular season, and despite Lamar leading the team in rush yards, there were not a whole bunch of design quarterback runs called for Lamar Jackson in the regular season. And so the first possession, all you saw was design run, design run, design run. And so I think they have saved Lamar's legs for this moment. And they will not be afraid to have him hurt you with his legs, but he is dealing on the field as a passer, man. And I think this is going to be a game, knowing how Spags coaches the game, this is going to be a game where Lamar wins this, not just with his arm, but making timely runs. And I think it's the year, y'all. I mean, it's hard. It's always hard to bet against Patrick Mahomes. You guys know this. I said it. He is the best in his current generation. And in my opinion, he's already in my top 5 of all time. And we can think about all the great quarterbacks that have come in this game. But if you see this kid play, he's there. He's already in the conversations. Um, but I just think Baltimore has the better team. I think they run the ball better. I think they have the better offensive line. I think they're the more healthier team. I think they may be kind of what and what in terms of the pass catchers. But where KC truly has Travis Kelce at that tight end position, the Ravens have Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews now. So might give a little bit of a nod to the Ravens here. And then that defense, I just think they're a much better defense than the Kansas City Chiefs, mainly because they've played some tougher opponents. We saw what they did to San Francisco a few weeks back. So I'm going to go with Baltimore on this one. And I will say this, man. You want to try to put this game away. You're not going to beat the Chiefs kicking field goals. You're not going to beat the Chiefs not converting third downs and sustaining drives. You're not going to beat the Chiefs keeping them on the field offensively on key third down situations. You can't turn the ball over. We know these things, but I think if this game continues to be a close one, it plays into Patrick Mahomes' um, favor because he's been here. Again, every year of his career, since he's been the starting quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, he's been in the conference championship. This is home to him. So while he's not playing at home, the conference championship is his home. And so, Lamar, are you ready, man? Are you ready? I want you to be ready. I want you to shut the bullshit up. Dudes called you a running back. Say you should play wide receiver. Say that a guy like you can never win in this league with your style of play. I think it's time. I think it's time. They gotta really start putting respect on your name. So they can say all the bullshit. They can say, oh, he's just a running back. Oh, he should have been a wide receiver. Oh, he's not that good. But What you need to do and what needs to be in your mind is that whenever they say all that bullshit about you, they putting Super Bowl champion fucking next to it. Okay? And that gotta be your mindset. Your brother's ready. I know you ready, and I know you ready to get some shit done. And so it's your time. It's your time. Do it for you, do it for your family, do it for those guys in that locker room, do it for that city. It is time. And if you gotta slay the dragon, that is Patrick Mahomes the second, then fuck it, so be it. That's what gotta happen. This road ain't supposed to be easy. That's why there's players like you exist. That's why superstars like you exist. Because you take the road less traveled and you make it out alive. Make it to the other side and represent in the Super Bowl and have a chance to give the San Francisco 49ers another ass whipping on the grandest stage in the NFL, which would be the Super Bowl. That's what I got, and that's what I'm sticking to it. And I said, forget it. It's not going to be that close of a game. I got Baltimore winning 33 to 20. 33 to 20. Two scores. That's what I got. 33 to 20. I think they got it in their mind. I think Coach Harbaugh is going to have them ready. I think Lamar Jackson is going to be ready. I think they're going to jump on the Kansas City Chiefs early, and I think they're going to round out the clock with their run game. That's what I'm going with. 33 to 20. Baltimore Ravens. They are the best team in the league. They have the best record in the league. They've been the best team in the league. We've seen them. We've seen their record against the best teams. They've always elevated their game. They do it again this weekend, and they'll be representing the Super Bowl. Yeah, let's go. Now, anyways, just wanted to show on that. Make sure, man, y'all enjoy. Look, I know the Royal Rumble and stuff that's on Peacock. So shout out to my dude Nikos who hooked me up. That's my brother, man. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't even be watching the Royal Rumble because I ain't fucking paying for this shit. I can tell you that much right now. But it's always good to know people, right? But if you got it, make sure you watch the Royal Rumble. There's gonna be a lot of surprises. There always is at that event. Enjoy yourself. There's something for you to do on Saturday, and obviously on Sunday is Conference Championship Sunday. Enjoy it. Get if you go to church, get the good word, and come back and be ready. And for the four cities that's being represented, San Francisco, Detroit, Baltimore, Kansas City, congratulations to y'all and y'all's fan base for having this opportunity to root for a champion. So those opportunities don't come. And like for the Detroit Lions, trust me, I know y'all know. And me being a New Orleans Saints fan, shit, I know it feels like forever since we won, and it definitely was forever before we won. So to be in this position, it is amazing. And shout out to all four of these fan bases, man. Y'all deserve this moment, and y'all's teams earned this moment. So cherish that shit because you never know when it's going to be the last one. Now, if there's anything I said today that offended anybody, it's a good thing. It's an opportunity for me to learn, and it's an opportunity for you to teach me. All I ask is that you keep it respectful. Peace.